I like this comment because it wasn't until recently that I became comfortable with expressing my love for my husband without having a sarcastic tone or, some sort of joke or punchline behind it, because we're so used to easily speaking unkindly to each other. But it's not, it's a form of vulnerability. And I discussed this in the Black Woman video. Certain emotions or expressions show vulnerability, and we're not used to that. So yeah, it took me a while to be able to just say I love you to my husband. He said it first, even though when he retells the story, he'll say I said it first. And it's not until recently that I've come to a space where I can just love on him. And I noticed it because I started posting nice things about him. Like, it wasn't always a zinger. It was like, oh, he's so great and special and walks on water. Oh, I realized I started posting those posts and I was like, what the hell is going on? And then now we are where we are. So yeah, I think we've been pitted against each other, and it's so easy for us to be ugly to each other. And it's uncomfortable and almost unnatural for us to be loving to each other. But that's our natural state. And once we break past the uncomfortableness of it all, it actually becomes just lovely. Dre was like, you know what? I now understand why Kaden walks around and says I love you all the time. I was like, because we're creating or cultivating, that's the word, we're cultivating a space of love in our home. And because of that, you're in love. Like, we are all in love with each other, and it's beautiful. I really love it too, because we went through our phase around 14, 15, where we were just butting heads. I was about to ship her butt off to Florida to my dad. Like, the conversations were really being had that I wish you had a father, because if you did, you'd be gone. And I know those are bad conversations to have now, but I was just trying to be a disciplinary and say, hey, I wasn't trying to break my child's spirit and to make her feel unwanted. There's a lot of things that we do. We're not trying to do the behind the scenes things, but the behind the scenes are happening. So, I was just trying to let her know, straighten up and fly right, or fly up out of here. And what's sad is I accepted that for our relationship, because you hear so many times moms and daughters do not get along. You hear so many times that the teen years are just terrible. Every mom that I know has had to yoke their child up, including myself, because they get beside themselves, and you have to let them know, who the f you talking to? You have to let them know. And so I accepted that for us, and I accepted that brokenness, and I imagined that our relationship would be strained, because that's just normal, right? But that's not normal. And right now, the space that my daughter and I are in, we were able to loop back to each other, and we're back together stronger than before. I remember her telling me that she wants to travel after high school, and I was like, well, I don't want you to travel by yourself. I'll go with you. And she was like, I don't want you to go with me. You're not cool enough to go with me. But recently, a couple weeks ago, she said, Mom, I think we could travel together, because I could talk to you about anything, and you're like hanging out with a friend. So, no, I'm not one of her little friends, but we are friends. And I think that's important, because we as women, we're so lonely out here. Like, finding someone we relate to. How come we cannot relate to the woman that raised us? Like, we've got to eliminate whatever that barrier is between us. And your mom needs to be your best friend, because who else knows you, and who else do you know? My daughter has known me for 17 years. She's my longest relationship. Why wouldn't she be my best friend? Now, my friend, I can only speak for myself. I personally am only attracted to black skin. The darker, the better. I know I'm fetishizing over here, but as a black woman, can I fetishize a black man? Because, my goodness, something about that oil spill looking ass nigga. Nothing against my chocolate drop of a husband, but shoot. Hello, oil spill. Nothing wrong with a Jason Momoa, Khal Drogo, Game of Thrones. Hello, Khaleesi. If you know, you know. And he's my one cheat. I've already talked to my husband. If I see that man in real life, I probably won't be attracted to him. But if I ever see Khal Drogo in person, it's a done deal. Dre, it's a done deal. I kid. And as fine as that man is, he still don't get me going. And y'all know what get you going means, right? Get you going. Beautiful black skin gets me going. And that speaks to the attractiveness, and that's why I, even though I have been dogged out by every man except for my husband, including my daddy. I love you, Dad. He liked to stop talking to me when I make him mad, so I had to put that in there. I love you, Daddy, but you did me wrong. But he apologized for it too, so there's that. How does a black woman who has been dogged out by every black man in her life except for her current husband still love black men? Because even though I kissed all them freaking frogs, I found my prince, and I wasn't going to settle for anything less than what I deserve, which is a black king. And I found him. Put the crown on his motherfucking head. I sure will. Mwah. But isn't that the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? Dealing with different black men over and over again, expecting a different result when all you've received since you've been messing with black men, the age of 18 was my first boyfriend, same result? Why would I go all the way up to 36 still trying? It's insane. In the video that I posted about how we raise our kids to be hard, or we raise our men and our boys to be hard and emotionless, I mentioned that because that is rooted in slavery tactics and how we raised ourselves and raised our offsprings for survival. I mentioned that our beautiful black men were ripped apart from their families and literally became breeders. Their sole purpose and the only way they were able to continue living was to produce babies and abandon them. Now I get it. We're not there. We're here in 2023. But you don't think none of that stuff is coded in our DNA? You don't think that the images that we see on TV depicts why we act the way that we act? Why a man can walk away from his offspring so easily? For generations, he had to do that to survive. So it's coded in our DNA. And I know that's a stretch, but there's something there.